go down to college ranks for week 4. We mentioned earlier in the as we were starting the show that this is going to be a loaded week 4, and you go into that ESPN app and you look and you could see, oh yeah, this is a good game. This is a good game. Ohio State, Notre Dame, Florida State, Clemson,
Alabama, Ole Miss.
Alabama, Ole Miss, a game that's kind of getting lost in the shuffle because of those two.
Yeah.
Colorado, Oregon we're going to find out. UCLA, Utah, another game to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm. Hey, the annual whiteout at Penn State's this weekend.
Yep. Yeah, Iowa, Penn State.
Yeah.
And that game is on CBS.
CBS, yeah. It just doesn't
I think
feel
a tricky trap game again for Texas. They got to
go to
Baylor
at night. Yeah.
Where they came out flat against Wyoming, and it was a tie game going into the fourth quarter. But with that, my college game of the week here, it has to be Ohio State, Notre Dame. Since I had the first pick, I'm going to go with that.
Your two favorite teams, brother. Your two favorite teams.
My two favorite teams. I think this is a game. This might be an early playoff eliminator game, just based off the schedules that both of these two teams have. Yeah. Ohio State, Kyle McCord, they have settled on a starter. He looked really sharp after Ryan Day announced that. That offense seems to be clicking. And this is I think this might be the biggest game in Notre Dame history since the 90's. Now, went out. The biggest question with Notre Dame has been for the longest time is they'd get nice quarterbacks, but they've never had a quarterback like they have in Sam Hartman. That's why Sam Hartman comes to Notre Dame to play in games like this and win and get Notre Dame over that hump. They're playing this game at home. They have to come out ready to go. And this is a game, too, in past years where Notre Dame just falls flat on their face and loses. And most of the time it came down to inefficient quarterback play. They have a superstar in Sam Hartman. And if Sam Hartman has a good game, he's positioning himself to be in the leader for the Heisman race early in the season.
Without question. And also we're talking possible top 10 pick. And, this upcoming NFL draft. And, Dale, I look at this game for Notre Dame, and if you win this game, you're putting yourself in the college football playoff rank, but then also you're getting away from what people would describe this Notre Dame team as. That's just another classic Notre Dame team. They're loaded with talent. They're going to win 10 games, 9 games a year, but they lose to the best teams on their schedule. They talk about how good Notre Dame is, this tradition, all the Heisman Trophy winners, but you fall out flat on your face and can't beat the good opponents. And, your point for Ohio State, if they win this, then they can get some confidence and they say, hey, McCord's our guy. We won on the road. Maybe we can mess around and you know what? Our remaining schedule doesn't affect us. So, this is going to be a great game. And all I can say is thank God YouTube TV has the multi-view option so you can watch 2 games at once. So I can watch the Iowa game and this game at the same time.
Yeah, and right now Ohio State is a 3-point favorite against Notre Dame, and in a 6 versus 9 matchup. Nice.
Yeah, giggity. But also, I think coaching-wise, this game is huge for both of these coaches. Marcus Freeman can come out and he can have that big win as a head coach, a program-defining win, and say, hey, no, we beat Ohio State. I was the right guy to take over for Brian Kelly. And for Ryan Day, you can finally win a big game in the regular season or a big game in general that you should win as a head coach. We know how the last 2 years against Michigan have gone. And then the year before against Oregon. Time to nut up or shut up, Ryan Day. No pun intended on the nut joke with the Buckeyes there. But you talk about Sean Payne being a fake tough guy. If Ohio State loses this game, I don't think Ryan Day's a fake. I think he is a bona fide fake tough guy. So this game matters for him. And cue up the Mike Vrabel to Ryan Day rumors if they lose this football game, which it would be silly for Mike Vrabel to ever think about leaving Tennessee.
Absolutely,
going back to college,
especially after the big win last week against the Chargers. Tennessee was also could have been a team in my told you so team, but I kind of forgot. I threw this all together 5 minutes before the show, so got a little bit lost in the shuffle here. But let's Ryan Day has to put these Mike Vrabel rumors to bed, which
Yep.
I think Mike Vrabel would be stupid to go back down to college. But
No.
anyways, Grant, what is your what is your college game of the week?
My college game of the week is going to get started at 12 Eastern, 11 Central, and that's Florida State Clemson. And this is a big win for Florida State, big game for both teams. And for Florida State's sake, you can have two big wins in the month of September. Beating LSU week 1, going on the road to get a win in Death Valley over a team who you haven't beat since 2014. And you can finally kind of knock them off the side and say, hey, no, we're the supreme players in this conference. And you look at Florida State's schedule, man, after this, they don't have to play North Carolina. And of course, they got to play Miami, but they are positioning themselves at a college football playoff run if they can win this game. And it would just prove Jordan Travis, Heisman Trophy candidate. Mike Norvell, his job is safe. He's figured this Florida State team out and they're rolling if they can get this big win. And for Clemson, they can just kind of prove if they win that, hey, the week 1 game was a fluke. You know, we moved the ball a lot. We just had turnovers in the red zone. This Garrett Riley offense is rolling. We've put up a lot of points these last 2 weeks. Cade Klubnik is our guy. And they can also say, hey, don't forget about us. Who's won the ACC 7 of the last 8 years? Who's beaten Florida State every year since 2015? It's been us. It's been the Tigers. So this is kind of a game where Clemson can get back to them old selves, but remind the rest of the conference, like, hey, this conference runs through us. And if you lose 2 games in September, you're done. The season's over in Clemson. And Clemson University does not believe in NIL. They don't want to pay their players with this world of the transfer portal. Who knows? Maybe if these Clemson players lose a game or 2 here on and they don't have much to play for, maybe they don't want to play for Dabo anymore. Maybe they don't believe in his culture. Maybe he needs to change things up a little bit. So, big game for both teams, a program-defining win or a redefining win for Clemson, if you can remind everyone, we're the big dogs in the ACC.
Yeah, and Grant, you know, the one thing is Clemson, they've kind of fallen off the map where they aren't even ranked at the moment. And all they've done since losing to Duke is take care of business and put up a bunch of points. Yep. And I think some of it is a bit of a fluke, that week 1 loss to Duke. I think Duke is actually a really good team who's also getting lost in the shuffle. I think Mike Elko is a heck of a coach. Probably could be getting will be have his name in the running for a few jobs that are going to be open at some point down the line.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, if I'm not mistaken, Duke won 9 games last year. They won 9 games last year, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they were 9-4. They've got a first round potential caliber quarterback as well. So, and Clemson, realistically, if they don't turn the ball over, I don't know if they win it or not, but it's at least a 1 possession game, and that 28-7 loss isn't such an eyesore for the college football committee if it comes down to that and Clemson's able to pull it out. But no, that games get started off with a bang. Michigan plays at 10, so I will have the Michigan game on the big screen, Florida State Clemson on the little one. Hopefully by halftime I'll be able to switch it where Florida State Clemson's on the big screen, Michigan Rutgers is on the little one. But knowing the way Rutgers plays Michigan, it's going to be it'll start out with a battle because for some reason Rutgers always plays Michigan tough, Greg Schiano, but let's put Greg Schiano to bed and get him out of the Big Ten because I'm just sick of facing the guy.
Well, and Dylan, it kind of seems like so far this year, maybe because it's been Harbaugh hasn't been there, or again, it's tough to motivate 18 to 21-year-olds, but it seems like Michigan's been flat in the first half of a lot of games this year.
I wouldn't say they were flat. I wouldn't say they were flat against East Carolina or the UNLV. They came out and then they dominated for most of it. And then in the second half when the starters they started subbing down, that was kind of where you would see some of it drop off. But yeah, I don't know if it was because it was Bowling Green. I think some of it was a night game. I think JJ McCarthy was just trying to press too much. I think he felt he was going in extremely confident and thought he could get away with a few other things and trying to make the big play instead of just taking the easy one. I think they're all of his turnovers are correctable, and I think he'll learn from it and be better. He'll learn that he doesn't have to press all the time, because especially when you have the run game that Michigan does, and just take what they give you, make the easy play. Just as Vince Lombardi would say, matriculate the ball down the field.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think, I think Harbaugh coming back, there's going to be an extra spark and some extra juice for this team. But is that game in Piscataway or is it in Ann Arbor? I can't remember.
It's in Ann Arbor, so
okay.
That also helps. Harbaugh's going to get a nice warm welcome back in the big house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited. And like I said, I think a lot of it had to do with you're playing a lackluster team in Bowling Green. It's a night game. You're sitting around. You're doing nothing all day. And now I'm just sounding like a coach here where you're not focused. It's a night game. You're going under the lights against a team you're supposed to dominate. You think they're just going to roll over. That wasn't the case. And all of a sudden you find yourself in a 7-6 game at halftime or whatever it was. But then turn it on in the second half. So I think they're going to be ready. I think they're going to want to prove wrong. JJ doesn't turn the ball over. Michigan's going to be just fine.
For sure.
So that wraps up our week 4 college preview.